Day. Why choose the theme mental health and the elderly?
Thank you very much. I think it's a very big box. We need to do something to unpack it. It's a very big box and also very heavy. Okay. But to summarize this is World Mental Health Day is a day set aside by the World Health Organization and its member states to focus, to draw international attention to the growing mental health problems in the world. You will recall that WHO has documented there's overwhelming evidence that something like over 400 million people around the world suffer somehow some form of mental disorder at a given time. So this is a big issue. And now coming back to the issue itself, why mental health and elderly people? When you talk about mental health, it's not only the absence of mental disorder. Mental health is beyond that. We also talk about the living condition of people. We talk about how they interact socially, because if you look at the whole definition of health, which is not only the absence of disease, but mental health is very key. That's why I will tell you, no health without mental health. This is something that we don't joke with it, international community. Why are we talking about mental health and older people? Because we are seeing a big revolution in terms of aging. The world is aging. Whether you are in a developing country, whether you are in a developed country. In fact, developing country for more, things are changing. The trend is so immense and then, and so interesting. What used to happen, the landscape is changing. If you look at what WHO estimates, between 2000 and 2050, the world is going to see a rapid population explosion. You will see the number of people aged 60 and above, which we call the older people, and that's the team we are talking about, will rise from 600 million in 2000 to about 2 billion, in 2050. Can you imagine? Wow. This is too much. So you are going to see a lot of people going old. Obviously, what does this mean? This means that we are going to have problems, and the problems, of course, for old people is mental health. Mental health problems are there. And this is the reason why WHO has taken this theme. Because there is a big relationship between mental health and elderly people. Elderly people, by their nature, if you are 60 and above, you are vulnerable to many things. It depends on your context. Some old people are abandoned in some places. And if you are lonely, we know you are going to be depressed. And when you are depressed, you know that's a problem. And that's why many people are taking their lives every year. Because of suicide, and that also has relation to what we talked about later. So, if you want to summarize this, the theme is so pertinent that we need to talk about mental health generally. That everybody, whether you like it or not, is affected. It's not like I'm not out of it or I'm out of it. No, everybody is part of it, and for us at the level of the World Health Organization, what we can do is, what we are trying to say is that as far as this day is concerned, we are telling the world that we need to take action, because mental health is neglected. 3% of the budget. The world is silent over mental health. No, funds are very limited. Anywhere in the world is spending only $3, less than $3 per person per year on mental health. Can you imagine? Only less than $3.
It's amazing.
So this is amazing. And then obviously we lack the human resources capacity is not there. Very limited. So we have a lot to do in mental health. And this is the reason why World Mental Health Day is choosing the theme mental health and old people.
Detailed answer there. Thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Dauda, in your own words, would you say that cases of mental health are more pertinent amongst young Gambians, rather? Young Gambians?
Thank you very much for hosting us, first of all. And we wish to commend Grts for inviting us on this very important day, the 10th of October, which is marked world over as World Mental Health Day. We wish to recognize the good efforts that the staff at Tanka Tanka are doing, but also recognize the efforts of our government and challenge everyone, private sector, government, individual, society, that we still have to do more. Now, coming to the question itself, I will go back to the statistics. Recently, there was a study done in 2012, and we realized that out of the population of 1.8 million people in the Gambia, about 27,000 people have some form of severe mental health disorder. And the capacity we have within our hospital is 100 patients. So when we narrowed down everything and looked at the admissions at Tanka for the past 3 years, from 2010 to 2012, we realized that about 72% of all the admissions are between the ages of 15 and 55, meaning that most of them are within their youthful age. But as we said, when you look at the 2003 national census, it states that about 5% of the Gambian population are above the age of 60. And we realize that young people, though with all the problems we are having and catering for the majority of these mental health problems, it's most of the times the elderly that are being neglected. Because there is this derogatory belief we have towards the elderly that once you're old, you're frail, you've passed your sell-by date. So these are all problems why we think it's important to talk about the elderly, but we are not leaving behind the young people because they carry the bunch of the problem.
Okay, so what would you say has been the most prevalent cause?
The causes are many, but we will just pick few among them. You know, the human body grows. In fact, it is believed that you start aging whilst you are in the womb, before you were born. This is what we believe in health. But as you are growing above the age of 60, which is senility, your cells starts to degenerate. They start to falter in some way. As our skin will wrinkle, that's how the brain cells will also damage. So one of the key problems to mental health problems in the elderly is biological changes within the brain cells. And the second problem is psychological, due to stress, some form of depression. But the society has a part to play, because isolation is one of the key things that triggers the elderly mental health. Because I'm rich enough, I'm working somewhere, then I decide to buy my house. I've been living with my parents for 30 good years. Now, because I'm rich, I decide to leave them elsewhere. They are isolated. They are not used to seeing me. So this will cause some form of anxiety, phobia, depression. So these are all factors that will lead to elders developing some form of mental health problems.
Thank you, sir. That is really beneficial, because I'd have to say that, honestly, I didn't know most of what you just said, and it's really, really good for everyone out there. Over to you, Mr. Momodu. How has the WHO partnered with other existing organizations on the issue of mental health problems?
Thank you very much. WHO is the leader, the world leader as far as the world authority on health. And it, of course, cannot work in isolation. We have to work with member states. WHO has over 190 member states, 194 for that matter. And then, of course, WHO works with a host of institutions around the world to make sure that standards are set in everything as far as health is concerned. Mental health is a key issue as far as WHO is concerned. If I talk to you now, just recently in May, WHO has launched, the world has launched, of course, through WHO, the latest action plan on mental health, starting from 2013 to 2020. And that is looking at 4 critical objectives. One is to make sure that the leadership for mental health is strengthened, governance. 2, there must be information system. The evidence must be generated to make sure that people are aware of the management of mental illnesses. There must also be capacity. Resources must be available. We must have to make sure that mental health is integrated. There must be, countries must establish systems that are responsive to mental illnesses, that are also, of course, efficient. They can provide the leadership, they can provide the drugs, they can provide the human resources, all this, and also all the stigma surrounding mental illness should be, a thing of the past. So therefore, what the World Health Organization is saying in this plan of action is that there must be an integrated mental health. It's like any other disease. It's like physical disease. It has to be integrated in the system. It cannot stand alone. And that's where the stigma is. So WHO is really paying a lot of attention to this and also encouraging countries to make sure that they take that integrated approach as far as mental health is concerned.
All right, that's very good. We'll be right back with more on the World Mental Health Day. We'll just go with a tiny short break. Right back. Stay tuned. Welcome to everyone watching right now. This is the Fatu Show. It's your girl Diwa here, and welcome to another segment of My Take. It's wonderful to be here. Now, I have a tiny little problem that I want to share with you guys. For a good part of my teenage life, most of what I and my brother always argue about is my so-called addiction to fashion. It's like he gets irritated when he sees me unpacking from shopping or trying on so many outfits before going out, or spending a lot of time on my makeup and things like that. And so in this week's segment, I want to define myself, and not only myself, but also every other person with a passion for fashion out there. Brother, you asked what the point is, and I'll attempt an explanation. Now, I'm not trying to suggest that fashion can solve global issues or anything like that. However, at the very least, fashion should be validated as a form of self-expression.